Hi there, welcome back. How are you today? So, I was excited to get back on the camera today, back to recording, because I've had a few questions come through and I just really wanted to share all the information that I've been receiving since I've read these questions. We'll start with the first one, and this whole video will be for that question, which actually turned into two questions. I'll have to read them. They're just there, so it's exactly as it is in the comments that I received, and you'll see it pop up here once I start reading. So the question was, do you see a description of them when they come to you? For example, are they in white garments or white robe-like clothes with white hair? Now, the question is, how do I see the spirit guides when they come through? I'm guessing that's the question, because they were the two questions I received about that. And then they shared this lovely experience they've had themselves. So going through that question, I thought it was really important to create this video because for me, my team has come in different every single time. Sometimes, okay, let's go through what I mean by that. Depending on the healing, because they started to come in quite strongly when I started performing Reiki distance healings for others. That's when they all came in and they all showed up, you know, at that particular time, because I had the intention of helping others to heal, was that they all started to appear. Now, in my experience, I have seen them come in all different shapes and forms. Okay, so what does that mean for those of you sitting there, you know, scratching your head like, what's she talking about? Now, in the early days when they used to come in my first Reiki healings that I would be doing, Archangel Michael would come in dressed in a robe, a beautiful blue robe. And he had these bright blue piercing eyes. Sorry, his eyes haven't changed. And I see him with dark hair, jet black hair actually. And his is about shoulder length, a little bit longer than shoulder length, but I wouldn't call it, it's medium long hair. I wouldn't call it long hair. It's kind of the length I've got at the moment. Then I've got Gabriel comes in, and he's usually an amber colored or sometimes in sort of orange attire. In the early days when I was first starting to do the Reiki healings, this is how they appeared. And he has bright amber colored eyes. Rafail usually comes in with these beautiful green garments. Sometimes they're dark forest greens. They're almost black, but they're mostly in green when I see him come in. Again, they're all in robes. That's how they came in originally, because the healings I was doing in the early days, the person I was working with, where they started to appear really strongly, she was highly evolved. So spiritually, she was already quite evolved. So they came in these beautiful robes. And I thought it was very important to mention that, and you'll see why in a moment. And then Uriel, oddly enough for me, Uriel comes in as half and half. She's the only feminine presence of all the angels that I call in. Online, when you look online, Uriel is a masculine presence. So as I said, you know, I can go online all day long and I won't find anything, any images that look like any of my spirit team or any information that has anything to do with how I see them or how they appear to me. So Uriel for me is the only feminine presence. And when she shows up, when she's in human form, like when she shows up the way we look, she's hooded. She's usually in a hooded cloak. And she shows up half black on one side. So if I were her on my left side, all down her left side, it's all black. So from here, her hood, her cloak, her clothes, all black. And on the other side, all white, right down the middle. And she's faceless. I never see her face. That's Uriel. Then I have Metatron. And Metatron for the longest time, for me, appears as something in nature. Sometimes he's mountains, sometimes he's clouds. He usually appears as something like that. Sometimes he takes on human form. And this sometimes depends on the healing every time. Depends on who the healing is for, is how they're going to appear. When the healing is, when there isn't anything to heal, the person is already spiritually quite evolved. That's how they appear to me, usually in those beautiful garments, in those colors, and that's how they look. Now, I said Michael has jet black hair and it's shoulder length, just about here. Gabriel comes in and his hair's more, it's shorter, it's around here, and his is, it's this beautiful orange colored hair. Rafail has long hair and his is brown, light brown hair. It's beautiful. He's just really beautiful. And as I said, Metatron, he usually shows up as something from nature. So because he doesn't really have human form, I can't really describe him much except maybe floating clouds or, you know, when I was doing all those beautiful healings in the beginning with this lady, he would always show up as clouds, as something light, as something, you know, it was really gorgeous. Once Mother Mary and Jesus started coming in, they're more, they don't change their form very often. They usually come in the same way every single time. And I think that has to do with the fact that in church, when I was growing up in the Catholic Church, they looked and they dressed a certain way. So when they appeared to me, they're always dressed that way. They always look that way. So if you've seen images of Mother Mary with her beautiful blue hooded cloak that she wears, that's how I see her, usually. Jesus always has this beautiful robe on that's, it's not white, but it's like a natural color. It's how do I even describe it? It's not white. It's just a little bit off the color of white. And I think it's the natural color of the garments at the time when they weren't colored with anything that they would wear at that time, because that's how I see it. It's a, I'm not sure what that color's called. Anyway, so I don't want to waste too much time on it, but that's usually how Jesus comes in, and he wears sandals because for the longest time, that's how I saw him in church. So that's how my team appears, or that's how they started in the beginning. Now, I found it curious that this question was, are they white garments or white robe-like clothes with white hair? I thought that was really important to bring up in this video because the first time that I went in to work with an earth angel, in other words, an angel that's here on earth, and it's funny because a lot of these people that I've done Reiki on, I don't think that they're aware of the beautiful beings that they are on this earth. But the first time I went in to work with this beautiful earth angel, and we have a really deep connection now since those first healings that we did together on each other, because he's also a Reiki master teacher, and my dear friend Rafail. And I went in, and when I called in my beautiful, beautiful team, it was the first time they were all dressed in white. All of them. I knew that something magical was happening, something special that I had never seen before when I was going into this special Reiki healing that day, because they had never come in dressed in white. And it wasn't just that it was white, it was like luminescent, like it was a glowing white. It was the most beautiful thing I'd seen up until that point. Archangel Michael came in dressed in white, in these beautiful robes. I can't even describe what they looked like, but they looked like real angels at that time. Whereas before, to me, they felt more like human form. And huge white wings. The same for Archangel Gabriel, these beautiful white robes, luminescent white robes, and huge white wings behind. The same for Raphael, Archangel Raphael, and the same for Archangel Uriel. It was the first time she came in all white, not half and half. And then Metatron, and when I looked up, even Metatron came in human form that day in those beautiful white robes. Mother Mary followed in the same beautiful white robes, and Jesus followed wearing this beautiful robe in this beautiful white luminescent color that glowed. There was a glow to it. It wasn't just white, but it was there was just an energy about them as they were coming in that day. This high frequency of love. I mean, I could feel it as it was coming in, and I knew something special was happening that day. I knew. And once I opened this gorgeous human being's crown, I saw instantly, I was shown the beautiful energy within. And I was so blessed that day because it was the first time that I was witness to this beautiful energy in this way. It was so peaceful, so serene, so blissful. It was the most beautiful thing. And I'm pretty sure for that healing, because I've done a few with Rafail now, but I'm pretty sure that for that healing, Archangel Rafail was the one that chose to stand at his head. And I found out later, having a conversation with him, that the reason for that is because he has such a strong connection to Archangel Raphael. He was actually named after that beautiful archangel. So, needless to say, after that, we became such good friends because I was blown away by his beautiful energy. And the following day, we were practicing at the time to do distance Reiki healings. In my case, to complete all the healings that I needed to complete to finish the course. I hadn't quite finished yet. You needed to have a certain amount of healings in order for that, to receive that certificate, that diploma. And he was one of my last ones. So I was practicing on him the first night, and the second night he did a healing on me, and the same thing happened. As I was waiting for him to do the Reiki distance healing, I called in my spirit team. And in that moment that I called them in, they were all dressed in this beautiful white, like I'd never seen before, the most beautiful thing. And they were all surrounding me this time, just waiting for this healing to take place. And in that moment that I'm waiting, I think it would have been, I don't know, because when I step into this space of being with them, with my beautiful spirit team, time when I'm with them feels like it stands still, like there is no time in this space when we are together. And oftentimes I find that I feel like I've been with them for hours and sometimes even days. And when I come back to my body, when I come back to being here in this reality, I find that it was only like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And I'll be like, what? But that day with Rafail doing the beautiful Reiki healing on me, Metatron spiraled down. I'm guessing once he started. And he offered me his hand, because you'll notice with all these beautiful spirit guides, they never just grab you to do something. They always offer, they always give you the choice. Because you have free will, you have to choose whether you accept what they want to give you, or what they want to show you, or what it is that they're bringing forward. You always have to accept. They won't just go here and dump you with something. It's not how they work. Because you have free will, they always ask first. They always give you the option for you to choose whether, yes, you want to experience this today, or no, it's for another day. I'm not ready for it now. I don't want to do it right now. But I was in such a blissful state that as soon as he offered his hand, I was a yes all the way. So I gave him my hand and we together started to spiral up, 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 up. And the next thing I know, we are flying through galaxies and galaxies and flying forever until there was nothing. Nothing. And then he left me there. And in this gorgeous space of nothing, I see a beautiful golden hand. And in that moment, I realize where I am. And, you know, there's no words. There's just no words. To me, when God appears, it's usually in the form of a hand. I don't know why. A golden hand. And each time I see that, I know it's God, Spirit, the universe, whatever you want to call it, at 0 point. You know, in the point of where all creation is made, that nothingness, that space. And I was there. I don't know how long I was there. But again, this beautiful golden hand opened up. And I was invited to step in and be in that space with God. I could have said, no, I'm not ready. I don't want to. But I did want to. And so there was no doubt in my heart, in my mind. No doubts, no fears. There was nothing in the way. So I stepped into this beautiful hand. And I could feel all this beautiful love coming through. I could feel the love that I am. I could feel the love that God is. And it is all one and the same love. When I finally opened up my eyes, I don't know how long I'd been. I didn't have a watch on at the time, but it was dark. And when I had started this Reiki healing that afternoon with Rafail, it was light, so it would have been about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But I look out and it's dark, and I thought, wow, what happened? And now this only happened this one time. It was the first time. I tried to get up and I couldn't get my body to function. I had left it there and I had returned, and it needed like rebooting or something. I don't know. It was really strange for me. I tried to get up and it's like I didn't have the strength. Or it wasn't even the strength. I just couldn't get my body to move. So I sat for a little bit, you know, in that blissful state, and I thought, oh, what's the rush? You know, there's no rush to go anywhere. I'll just sit here, you know, with my eyes open, just allowing that beautiful energy to continue to stay with me. And, you know, I didn't want to leave that beautiful state. And eventually I went on a walk, but my legs felt like jelly, like they weren't my legs. It took such a long time to get my legs to feel human again, or I'm not even sure what you want to call it, but to feel normal, like they normally feel when I'm on a walk. That's the first time I've ever seen them come in, these beautiful white garments. And since then I have seen them come in like that. And I know, each time I know that I'm in the presence of an angel here on earth. So someone who is unconditional love. Someone who is walking their path here on earth to bring this unconditional love to others, however that looks, you know. Since then, I've had healings. I've had a couple of healings. I call them healings, Reiki sessions, when I'm not really healing anything. I just go in for information, or sometimes just to be in the presence with them and to feel my being recharged with this beautiful unconditional love, just being filled with it again and again and again, and be reminded of, this is who I am, you know? Sometimes these beautiful beings have come in feminine form, all of them. For me, it was the funniest thing. You know, I kind of cracked up when Michael showed up in this feminine form, and then Gabriel and Rafail as well. And well, Uriel's usually either that or she shows up as a black crow. So even Metatron that day came in feminine form, like women, instead of their usual, you know, like women. And but still with the bright blue eyes if it's Michael, the bright amber eyes if it was Gabriel. So I knew it was them. But for some reason, this session had something to do with the divine feminine that was coming through. And so they were dressed accordingly. Other times when I've done distance healings for others, they will come in dressed as warriors. Like the old gladiators, you know, they have this, the chest plate, and they'll have swords, especially Michael, but sometimes they all come in with swords. And that breastplate, you know, the protection, the armor. Other times they've come in specific colors. The first time I went in where there was an incredible amount of fear within the other person. There was just so much darkness. All of my angels, my whole team, including Mother Mary and including Jesus, came in dressed as black, like in black. And I've even had sessions where they come in looking like the Dementors in Harry Potter. You know, those shapeless, all black. They're hooded and they have no face, but they're all black. I've had a few that they've come in like that. And eventually I worked out afterwards, talking to actually, what I did was that day I went running out to my garden, my backyard, and I laid down on the grass and I called in my higher self. And I said to my higher self, what is this? Because it was the first time it had shown up. And when I went in to see the other person, there was so much darkness, so much fear, that I didn't know what to do with all of that. And eventually, you know, my higher self told me that it was a test. As soon as she said test, I knew. It was a test to see if I was strong enough for this path. And it was a test in the sense of me realizing what fear really is, understanding what fear is. So after that, I was quite comfortable because I understood that the fear that I was witnessing was not mine, it was the other person's. I was witnessing the other person's storm, you know, like you witness a storm in nature. Same. But it's not your storm. It's not your fear. So I have been able to go through anything after that, you know. Because I know they're always with me. I know my team is always there. I know they're the ones doing all the work. You know, I'm just delegating, if you like. Okay, you guys, you know. When I first started doing Reiki, you know, I'd go in and I'd be like so exhausted after, because like, oh, it's my energy. I'm putting in my energy. I'm trying to heal this person. You know, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's my energy, and I'm healing them, and I'm sending them all this love to make them better. And then I think after a week, this is all in When Love Leaves. If you want to have a good laugh, it's all in there. After about a week, I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. I am exhausted, and it's only been a week. And I was booked out for like 3 weeks. From the moment I said I needed to practice, all the people in Melissa's group all, you know, went, yes, okay, you can do it on me, do it on me, do it on me. And I was like, oh my God, okay, let's do it. So after the first week, I thought, I can't do this. This is exhausting. Energetically, it was draining. Until one day I was doing a healing, and one of the ladies was a no-show. Like, I kept sending her messages and she wasn't responding back. And I thought, oh, okay. So I was going to cancel. I thought, well, you know, I need to rest after the first two. And I thought, you know what? I thought, I'm going to do it anyway, because I really needed to practice all the symbols that we were learning in Reiki. And I thought to myself, I'll do it anyway. You know, she said yes. She was a yes, so I'm not doing it against her will. If she's forgotten, that's on her, because I had sent her like 4 messages the day before and that morning. So I thought, okay, I'll do it anyway. And that was the first time that I called in my beautiful spirit team, and I said to them, you know what? You guys do the work. You do the healing. You send off all the energy that you need to send. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to practice my symbols that I need to practice. And I'm just going to have the rest that I need to have. And that was magic, because it was after that that I realized, oh, hang on a minute. That's what my spirit team is for. They're the ones with all the energy. Why am I using mine when they are the ones with all the energy? They're the ones that can do the healing far better than I can. And they're more than happy to. The other person's given me permission to do the healing. You know, they're more than happy to assist. So I would call them in, and then I'd say, okay, so who wants to do it? Who wants to be there? And I would see them. I'd either see Mother Mary at the head of the person, or I'd see Rafail or Jesus, whoever it was that wanted to be there. They would be there. And I've even had healings where I've had a being, a spirit guide, that wasn't from my team. They just appeared, and I just accepted. Beautiful hooded cloak, no face. She wasn't revealing her face, but I felt a feminine presence at the head of this person that day. Very overprotective of this person. But I did ask her if it was okay, and she said yes, because he had already given permission. But she was the one standing at his head while all this energy was sent to him, you know. But yeah, it was, for me, it was such a relief when I realized, oh, hang on a minute, you guys can do it. You know, this is what you do. I'm the one opening it all up. I'm the one calling you all in. But you guys decide, you know, who wants to do it. And then it wasn't so much about who wants to do it. It had more to do with the other person that the healing was for. It's who they're calling in, who they're comfortable with. Because sometimes my team would stay with me, they wouldn't go there. And it was because there was no one. That person isn't comfortable with archangels or a spirit guide or anything to do with the other side. They were just comfortable thinking of it as healing. You know, I'm sending them energy to heal. And so they would use that whole session focusing on just healing. So it's up to you, you know, how these sessions work. So, and what comes through. All of it. But the colors, I thought, oh, I have to address this video because there was so much to talk about of what I have experienced so far with my beautiful spirit team. It's all beautiful. It's all wonderful. And recently, a few days ago, I went in to recharge my batteries with them and get my boost of unconditional love. And they all came dressed in purple. First time, all of them. And I was just blown away. I was like in these beautiful purple robes, hooded. And it just felt angelic, but I didn't know what the meaning of it was. And I have this beautiful friend in New Zealand, and she's an incredible medium, and we complement each other. You know, I come up with the visions and I come up with all this stuff. And she is the one that's given all the interpretation. So when I'm stuck, I usually send her the vision and I ask her, what does it mean? What comes up for you? What are you being told? And then my answers come through her. So beautiful. That was just 3 days ago, 2-3 days ago. I'm trying to think when I did that healing, the Reiki session on myself. I just felt like I needed it. And they all came in purple. It was just really beautiful. All right, this one's gone really long, but there was so much that I wanted to share. So many beautiful experiences with them dressed in white, dressed as warriors, dressed in black, coming in female form. They did look so beautiful when they came in as females. Really lovely. All right, my darlings. All depends on the session, all depends on the healing, all depends on the person it's for. That person dictates what's allowed to come through and what's not, and how they come through. like when they come in as warriors, you know. So, yeah. All right, my darling, I don't want to make it too much longer. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the videos. And I love you. I love you. I love you dearly. Thank you, Malcolm, for that beautiful question. I'm sure it will serve many, many others as well. Thank you. Bye for now.